Welcome back to another episode of NYOC, Not Your Ordinary Company, where we explore the real, raw and unexpected paths that shape people's lives. So today I'm so excited to introduce you someone who has been part of my personal fitness journey as well, known as Raihan and Mori Ido. Yeah, a Pilates instructor who decided to follow her passion right after secondary school, which is not very common. And that is also why we want to have her on board today to share her journey and her experiences as well as her lessons or advice or cookie crumbs on how she got here today. So Raihan, just tell us more about yourself.
Okay, hi everybody. Thanks Anisa for having me here today. It's really lovely and so impromptu, but I'm pretty excited and stoked to be here. A little bit about myself. As you all may know, or you may not know, I teach Pilates full-time, and then I am an advocate for body positivity. In terms of like health, I really want to get into the nitty-gritty parts of wellness. So mostly that, and I try to advocate that through my classes. So especially in terms of movement, I'm very passionate about it. I don't care what kind of movement modality you practice. It's more so as long as you move yourself, that's all I want. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Personally, after the class last week Sunday, I woke up the next day thinking, why does my body hurt so much? Oh yeah, I met Raihan yesterday.
That's so funny.
So good to know that, obviously your Pilates really works on our bodies, especially, when we're working 9 to 5, we don't really stretch out much with traffic and all. So thank you for choosing this career path because we definitely could not have stretched the way we do if we did not meet you.
Oh my God, that means a lot. I always say in my classes, it's like I'll make sure that you move enough so that you remember me throughout the whole week. It's like if you hurt, you remember me. Then you remember to go for another class so you don't hurt as much again.
And I always love how you also provide options, so not everyone needs to go all out. If they're new as well to Pilates, you give them options to not be too overwhelmed and to be kind to their bodies as well, which is very important. And I guess, especially with social media nowadays, there's a lot of pressure to look good. And I think that's one of the things we love the most with your class. We've also got a makcik, right, around her 60s joining, and she always just wants to join just because of Raihan,
She's the sweetest, honestly.
Yes, so kudos to Shida for introducing her mom, and now she's hooked.
Shout out to Auntie Zainab.
Yeah, so anyways, so going to what really wanted me to have you as part of one of our first few episodes is because I was so intrigued from the part where I heard from my own sister when I asked her, hey, so we're looking for a Pilates instructor, right? She said, yeah, but I already know someone. I'm like, oh, why? What do you mean by you know someone? Oh no, her story is so interesting, Isha. So she calls me Isha lah, right? Because she actually decided it right after her SPM. And I was thinking like, usually Pilates instructor macam running away from corporate, or I have passion to working out, but I have to finish my degree first.
That's usually that big shift from like 9 to 5 to Pilates instructor. Yeah, it's like something you fall back on, right?
Yeah. So I guess the bigger thing is, what did you feel after SPM, or what were the thoughts you had that got you to wanting to do Pilates as as a job, a career, especially when you started, I'm guessing about 10 years ago. Back then people were like, Pilates, I tahu kat Cairo je, apa Pilates ni kan. So maybe could you like tell us how it was like, or even what Pilates was to you in the first place? When did you even hear the word Pilates? You know what I mean?
Oh my God, this is kind of funny. I always tell people that the first time I even heard the term Pilates, it was because of my mom. Yeah, people think like I'm the trendy one. It's my mom. My mom's the trendy one. Like literally, your parents and also your family are your biggest supporters. Honestly, they are the ones that shape you. They are the ones that know you first. So I learned it from my mom. And actually at the start I wanted to go into more sports science because at that point I was kind of getting into my black belt for karate. Yeah.
Okay, so do you need that black belt to be into sports science?
No, you don't need to be a black belt to be a Pilates instructor. But at that point I was very, very like eager to get my black belt, and I was like training really hard. So I think it became like a massive part of my identity. And then I think like I wanted something towards sports science. I wanted something for wellness actually. So I thought maybe medicine, maybe this, maybe that. But then it leaned towards more of chiro or like more towards sports science or physio, you know, that kind of thing. At that point, that was massive. That was slowly growing, right?
Yeah.
And then I had told my mom, my parents basically about it. And then they said, my mom was the one that proud to me. She was like, oh, you know, there's this thing called Pilates. Why don't you try it out first? There's not many Muslim hijabi instructors, you know, like a little bit of representation in terms of that. And also, you know, provide a bit more comfort for people who are looking for that belonging and that representation. Yeah.
Okay. So your first Pilates experience was in Malaysia?
In
or?
Malaysia. And it was with my mom. And my mom did better than me.
So your mom should have been the Pilates instructor
She
then,
should
right?
have. She should have. Yeah. I'm pretty sure she rocks at it. Yeah, she's really good. And now I have to like, but now the roles have been reversed. I'm the one teaching her. Yeah. And then she does whine sometimes, but she's super strong. She's the big, yeah.
Alhamdulillah, that's good. I think the other thing that we wanted to know as well was when you were interested, I'm sure you were one of the youngest Pilates
instructors?
No, actually, when you first joined, were you one of the youngest participants in the class?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I would imagine so, right?
Definitely. So everyone kind of looked at me and it's like, huh, where do you get the finances for this? Because people are covering, you know. But at that point, my parents were like, if you want to do something, do it right.
Yeah.
And they were okay with support. So basically, whatever funds that would have gone into uni or degree or whatever went into my Pilates career.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So deep diving into that,
Yeah.
you know, so first of all, it came from your parents. Your parents gave you the idea of sports science or sports science as to Pilates, right?
Yes, correct.
So deep diving into that, how did you end up? I mean, I've never really asked you about this, but you actually studied in Australia, was it?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so how did you end up there doing Pilates? Like,
Oh my
it's very
God.
unconventional. I bet
know.
you don't even know any Malaysians doing
No,
that, right?
and it's also kind of funny because people think it's like, oh, it's just a certification. You can just get it online. It's just a paper. But I think in terms of like knowledge, it's
Yeah.
very important where you get it and how you get it.
Okay.
Yeah, in Malaysia, we are blessed to have like lots of like avenues for it. But I think like you have to find a right teacher. In terms of like teaching pun, like when you're going for classes, you know that you have to try a few teachers to actually get a teacher that vibes with you and aligns with you. So when I was around here, I tried to take certifications here, but I felt like that was not the identity that I wanted to pursue. Like that was not the value that I wanted to carry in my teachings. So it's like there was this like constant inner conflict of like, this is not it. And I literally took a course here and I threw in the towel. I did not take the exam. I flunked it, but I did the theory. So, and then after that, macam I had this moment, this period of like uncertainty, like, maybe this is not for me. And like, you know, at that point, you're kind of blaming yourself. You burnt money. Yeah. Tapi, alhamdulillah, like, thankfully, my parents are very, very supportive, especially my mom. Shout out to my mom non-stop. Yeah, because I know you're going to watch this, Umi. I know. Okay. But basically, yeah, I think like they knew this was sort of the path that I was going towards and they kept on encouraging. And my mom was the one that actually found the course in Australia. And I really, really love Australia. So, but growing up, we always visited Australia. We have family there. Yeah. So she was like, oh, why don't you try this course out? And there was this big anxiety about like going there because one, money and funds, you know, but they always reminded me of one thing. I think that's the thing that macam inspires me and keeps me going. My parents always said like, there will be a way, Allah will provide. Yeah.
That's really nice. That's
yeah,
really nice.
it's like I'm a
Yeah.
very anxious person by nature. You might not be able to tell that, but I'm very anxious. But my parents always manage to like shut down those thoughts. They will say like Allah will
Okay.
provide. Yeah.
Okay, alhamdulillah. I think that's really, really good as well. Maybe
Yeah.
the most important thing is also acknowledging that support system is very important because I'm sure for most of us, if you were to ever decide to do something that's not conventional after SPM,
Betul.
we would be questioned by everyone. I can even imagine Raya.
Oh my god, yes. Everyone kept looking at my mom like, why are you letting your daughter do this? Why is she not
Yeah.
taking a uni degree? Why is she... Everyone doubted my mom.
Yeah,
Like, I
yeah.
was there. They were doubting her. And then after that, now, it's like,
Yeah.
once you become like successful or you're done with that whole journey, people acknowledge it, you know? And
Yeah.
like, not to say like I have like macam any kind of bitterness towards it, but that's why you have to really have good people that kind of drown out those negative thoughts and those
True.
doubtful thoughts, you know? Yeah.
I guess for me, macam personally, like at one point, before deciding for me I wanted to do business full time, I was even a babysitter in Switzerland for 4 months. And at that time, I was getting questions from people like, hey, why are you overseas washing other people's diapers?
Exactly.
But I wanted that for myself. So somehow, I guess, in the end of the day, when you know what you want, you block out all the noises too, right?
Exactly. And I think it's like, who made the rules of like, okay, a successful person is a banker, a successful person is a lawyer. It's literally what you want it to be.
Yeah.
As long as at the end of the day, it brings, food to the table, you enjoy it. Literally a cleaner or even a garbage collector, if they find passion in that work, they find purpose in that work, I think that is what helps with like your motivation and keeping you afloat. Because whenever, I think like I wouldn't be in this industry as long as I have if it wasn't for that passion and also the community that I get. Yeah.
So was there like ever a time that you sort of questioned, I shouldn't be doing this, like you mentioned earlier? I'm not too sure if that was because, macam maybe the instructor was not the right instructor or, but was there like a point where you macam, I should have turned back, I should have gone to degree, if I wanted to take degree, this would have been my life right now, that sort of thing? Because I'm sure a lot of people out there are questioning, alamak, if I do this, then I might regret it, you know what I mean? Yeah. So how has that been a point for you?
Oh yeah, that's definitely a point. Too many times, way too many times when I hit a bump in the road or I don't see like all the benefits that I'm reaping from it. So like especially when times are slow and you're not earning as much as you can, and your friends are out enjoying themselves with the money that they earn from their 9 to 5, and then you're here trying to like grind the hours, like literally traveling to KL. I've been taken advantage of. I've literally been like underpaid. But I think like every single time I told myself like, you show up and then in return things will fall into place, but you got to show up first lah. There were many times I wanted to throw in the towel. Trust me, my parents have seen me, and they're quite shocked that I've been in this career for as long as I have. But I think itulah, like alhamdulillah, Allah has put the right people in my life to have motivated me to stay on this. As long as I have, like even starting Kita Balance, like the community classes that we have, with
me and my sister,
they both host it. Like I think for the longest in my heart, I had this inkling of like, I want to go back to community because I've been stuck at the studio for quite some time. And then when I started Kita Balance again with you guys, it was so fun because that's literally why I started teaching, because I want to inspire people to move and I want to move with people. Because not to say that, just as an instructor, you're always motivated. No, you're not. You feed off of people's energy and people feed off of yours. So you want to like have this constant cycle of like sharing, like inspiring each other, rather than you guys come in and expect to follow me. I don't want to follow and lead kind of thing. I want it to be like a community based, like macam kampung like that.
I mean, that's part of the reason why we're starting this podcast as well, because I believe that, as a business owner, a lot of people question as if, your life is tougher than mine, my life is tougher than yours. But the reality is everyone has got their own set of challenges, but they don't really know each other to even ask the difficult questions sometimes, because at the same time you want to respect that boundary of, alamak, am I asking too much, am I interrogating, or is she willing to share? So I guess having your family is very, very important to support you. That was one of the things you mentioned that helped you with deciding that after SPM. But what about those who the cookie crumbs of advice, right? For those who don't really have family members who are supportive, how do you recommend? I'm not saying like go rebel against your parents, right? But I mean, some have that inch of I want to do it, that itch of I want to do it. I want to find out what happens if I do it. Do you think like having friends are important, or macam what do you sort of like advise to go with there?
Oh, that's a very good question. Okay, yeah. I know, like, alhamdulillah, I am very blessed. Like, I acknowledge that in its own is a privilege to have, like, a family that supports you. And, like, I think that's the biggest thing. Like, your doubters, like, anyone outside your family can doubt you and you're like, okay, whatever. But if your own family, like, doubts you, it's a big, big thing. Like, that's how much my nervous system was affected. Like, my parents can say something and I'll be like, okay, things will be okay. But I can imagine if it's not the case, I think at the end of the day, you want to show them how passionate you are about it. So a lot of times people say like, oh, I'm not ready, maybe later on I'll do it and stuff like that. But I think if you act on it, like as small as like maybe making a social media presence, or taking the initiative to act on that dream or act on that aspiration, I think like bits and pieces of it will inspire your family. Because I've had cases where my friends, they have that whole situation of like, oh, it's very conventional, how do you convince your parents and stuff like that. I think if you actually show them how intense that feeling, that passion is, there will be a way to convince them. Because you see how now, like back when I first started, no one believed in me except my parents, and then later on in life, when people see how successful you are, and then they're just like, oh, if she can do that, I can do that. So it's kind of like you have to show up and act on it. And I don't know what your dreams are and what your aspirations are, but there's no better time than now. Like as cheesy as it sounds.
But definitely. But kata Nike, just do it.
Just do it. Yeah.
But kata Adidas, I can and I will. I think there's been a lot of campaigns nowadays with all this. Of course, boycott is one, but we take the good and we leave the bad.
Exactly.
But I think to those who sort of want to do it, I've always been curious about it too, because I'm sure ChatGPT can't answer this question unless you tell ChatGPT. So I think the bigger question is, what is the common career path or timeline? Because kalau orang ambil degree, diorang macam tahu, between 18 to 22 is degree, 22 to 23 is internship and stuff like that. So how is it like for you, macam when you were 17, were you even allowed to even take a Pilates course at the age of 17, or macam how has it been like? Of course, you don't have to disclose your age.
Totally. Who knows.
Yeah.
Keep them second guessing.
You're always 21. Don't worry about it.
I wish. 21 ain't gonna process these. Okay, but basically, that's a really good question. It was really hard for me in Malaysia, considering macam I had no one to look up to in terms of like taking this pathway. Everyone was like, oh, daripada physio background and then go into Pilates,
Did you even DM any Pilates instructor overseas? How is it like?
Okay, I DM locally, and they weren't very like accommodating. They weren't very open about it. Nowadays in this age of social media, it's so easy to share. But back then, it's not easy to connect with people. You don't find people having a social media presence. It's not a common thing. So
Instagram
is
is
not.
Quite new.
Back then it was not.
You were so old then. Back then. How old are you again? 21? Are you sure?
21.
Okay.
But anyways, so macam in terms of like finding people to look up to, it was very hard. And then moreover, like a hijabi instructor, like what kind of like challenges you face as a hijabi instructor.
I'm sure the first thing in mind is gravity going to make my hijab run away?
That's a good one.
Like, how do I like
oh
turn
my god,
around?
that's months and months of R&D trying to figure out
the balance, so that you can actually work out without having to worry about your hijab goals.
Exactly. I love all these women-led initiatives, because I can wear whatever comfortable, and then outside of class you'll see me, or you'll see people in like all their loose clothing, and then you're wondering how they exercise in that. Because they're comfortable.
So Raihan is always fashionable during class. I don't even know how she does it, and she has so many classes to teach in a day. I only have to attend the class and I appear in sweatpants.
No, because comfort is key.
Okay. But the most important is showing up, right?
Yes,
okay.
correct.
Telling myself the things that makes me feel better.
True.
But yeah, I mean, going to how it was like for you, macam when you were 18 ke, 19
Not easy. So I think that's why I ended up in Australia, because I was trying to find like-minded people with the same kind of values going into Pilates. Because I feel over here in Asia itself is quite rigid. It's the same as like generally the wellness industry lah. People want you to fit into a box. But when I went to Australia,
kena ada abs, cik.
No, you have
Perfect complexion.
You have to have Lululemon. You have to have Lululemon, or like you need certain things to be able to be part of the group, And I didn't want that. I think that's why, like, if you join my classes, I've always I know this is a trigger, like marketing trigger word, but like inclusivity. I've always wanted to keep people included. Like, I think one thing that my mentor taught me was that you always want to allow people to leave feeling better than when they came in. And I basically, whatever I teach in my classes, the way I teach my classes, it's what I never got going into classes. Maybe that acknowledgement, maybe that idea of like connection, all that I try to portray in my classes.
And I love how you made it make it seem like being fashionable to class can be affordable.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be koyak pocket.
Yeah, exactly. And also, like, at the end of the day, like, I always tell my clients, like, I don't force classes onto them. As long as you, like, get moving, that's all I want. Yeah. So back to, like, the whole question of, like, how to get someone to, like, macam find the route to, you know, one by one. Yeah, because like with Pilates, there's no route. I think it's with anything in life, because once you're in your degree and stuff like that, you kind of think you have a track, you know, like you're on the right track. But actually, once you get out of uni, you're thrown into the deep end of the ocean with no experience.
Yeah,
and then
that's so
you're
true.
on the same boat as me. It's just that I had to go into it way earlier on.
Okay. Yeah. That's true.
It's the same thing. It's just
so
the same thing.
What was it like for you to get your first client then? Did you go like, hi, I do Pilates, come, you know, like I'll do it for free, or especially macam, I'm assuming now it's 2025, right?
Yes.
So maybe 10 years ago was 2015.
Yes.
I'm assuming 2015, maybe you have to say it's like chiropractor, tapi I won't break your back.
No,
or
it's not
how?
even chiropractor.
You know,
I had Pilates like 6 years ago. It's not okay. Now it's not cheap. It's not that cheap.
Yeah.
But it was so not cheap years ago. If you asked me like apa tu, to join a class, I would not have been able to like afford it. But because due to the fact I was doing my hours and stuff like that, you have to fork out the money.
Yeah.
So like to tell people to do Pilates is not something that has sat right with me always, because it is a lot more expensive than yoga. It's like the fact of the matter is, you know, it's more expensive. It's more like bougie. So only people who had money could afford Pilates back then. Yeah.
So I guess the thing that people always question is also, can you teach Pilates if you're certified or not certified? Okay, I know this is a bit of a sensitive topic, but I guess, you know, this is as what people are comparing to nowadays. This is something that is good for you to share your perspective or opinion, rather than asking AI or ChatGPT like, hey, can I teach Pilates if I don't have a certification? But based on your real experience, what are the differences if you've had the certification and if you don't? And how long did it take for you to get the certification? And is there even like a fail for certification?
Oh yeah, that's definitely a fail. That's definitely a fail. And then you can like to retake the exam, and then you have to like, you have to get like a certain score to be able to pass, and then like teach and get your cert.
Do they test your stamina macam?
Oh no, they don't
5 kilometers.
They base it off of vibes.
Oh, okay. You look like the summer girl.
No. Literally anyone can become a Pilates instructor. Yeah.
Okay.
Literally anyone can be.
You don't have to be skinny, right?
No, you do not have like PSA. Regardless of what body type you are, you can move. I have friends that are larger bodied than me, that are more curvaceous, that are stronger than me even. Yeah, which I love. That's what I love about like traveling to Australia, because you kind of saw that kind of representation. So whenever I went for classes, you'd have like 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds. They were rocking the moves more than me, honestly. And I was like dying halfway, and I was so young back then. Come on. Yeah.
I mean, look at J-Lo today, right? I'm thinking I'm older than her.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So what's the difference like? Do you recommend to take certification, or maybe take certification only when you're confident that Pilates is the one? Because nowadays there's bar, there's lean former, reformer,
there's an array of options.
Cycling, apa tu?
Spin.
Bicycle, spin.
That's spin.
I'm macam makcik, right? But you know,
no, don't worry. Yeah, there's many options nowadays. I would say it's just like anything in life, you would have to try it out. And I think that's the biggest factor whenever we go into these things, like, you know, your degree and stuff like that, halfway to regret it, because you were never given a crack at it. Yeah. So like in high school, were you given a crack at it, like to try it out and be exposed to it enough for you to know like, okay, this is what I want? But you're never gonna know what you want exactly from the start. It's like you will always go through changes, and I think like people need to give themselves grace to and also kindness in changing their minds.
Yeah. So I think that's the best part about the younger generation nowadays, is they are more exposed to all these avenues. So let's just say if you're interested to doing sports, or even macam you want to be a bukan yoga influencer, an athlete influencer or wellness, you can literally see it off social media, right? Like live as a bar instructor. Maybe it's a bit like of reality scale.
Yeah, it's a tiny bit, but you take what you can.
Yes, and at least then you macam, oh, this is what bar is like, so I can try it
Correct.
out. Versus back then, I think gym pun you cannot enter until you're 18, kan?
Correct. So you don't have people to like get exposed to when it's like this niche type of jobs.
Yeah.
And this like very what would you say, like unconventional or non-traditional kind of jobs, you know?
Yeah.
So when you say like should a person take a certification or not, I would say get exposed to it and then like go for classes, and then maybe if you can reach out to people who have experience with it, have a chat with them, like, you know, try and ask them straight to the point questions about what you're curious about.
Yeah.
And then you'll have a better and clearer picture, because I wouldn't just deep dive in and then burn your money.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then, who should not be a Pilates instructor? Like, I mean, don't label yourself and
Oh, yeah,
whatnot.
yeah.
But at the same time, at a certain age, you kind of know what you don't like, what you like, what you enjoy, what gets you up in the morning, right? So, if you were to say anyone who might not be so inclined, or how do you know this is your calling after trying it out? What would you say? Macam, if you're very passionate about empowering people physically, then yes, Pilates is for you.
Yeah.
But if you're one of those who prefer, I don't know, I mean, is there like a guideline, or you just need to try and then you tengok lah, kalau I can still want to wake up and do this, then, you know, this is what it is?
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good question. I think, because I've had a client where she wanted to take her certification out of the fact that she wanted to see herself improve in skills beyond the classroom.
Okay.
And then I think she came up to me and she did tell me this one time. She was saying like, oh, I don't think I can do what you do, Raihan. Like, you meet people, you talk to people, it seems so draining. And
It sounds like me. It sounds like me asking
Was
you.
it you?
I was like,
No.
Raihan, how do you do this?
No,
You know?
no, it's not you. But yeah, so and yeah, a client of mine, a very dear client of mine, she said that before, and she literally macam cakap, oh, like, how do you do this? Like, if people are late for class, you have to be kind, and then you have to be.
Oh, and then there's the question of, do you need to be an extrovert, right? Do you need to be an
No.
extrovert to be a Pilates instructor?
No.
Or do you have to have a loud voice, you know?
No.
Yeah,
I think that you have to be confident enough to carry yourself and teach. It's kind of like a lecturer. So macam you are able to talk. But at the same time, personality-wise, it can be anybody. I wouldn't say like, oh, someone that's outgoing, someone that's like pretty, or like, you know, has a certain kind of persona. They only have to become a Pilates
It just so
instructor.
happens you have all of them.
You're too kind. You're too kind. Alhamdulillah. But basically, I think I've had like I used to think that a little bit, like people need to have a presence, but I think you just have to have confidence, and also your intention has to be right.
Yeah.
Because there's so many different kinds of instructors now that I've noticed, because some people actually like the boot camp style, whereas I don't like that. But if it gels with you, go for it. That's what I mean by the instructor's personality really counts.
Yeah.
Because there's some people, it's just like making friends. There's some friends and people that you like, and some people that you don't jive with. So it's the same when you want to learn. It's like dulu when your parents send you for tuition, and then you have to get like the correct, like if in school you don't learn correctly, and then you have to go for a tuition, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you supplement that, and then you find a teacher that's really good, and then suddenly it clicks. So
faham.
and the cool thing nowadays is that we're blessed with so many different kinds of personalities. So
Yes.
some people like the fact that the instructor comes in, teaches the class, leaves, and then some people like the idea that the instructor conversates with them.
Some people like instructors who carry the babies too during the class. Yeah, so I
I
mean,
offer that services only to some.
yeah, so the perks of having Raihan,
Oh,
who's
no.
very gentle to women who are with kids. It's not like, okay, if you have class, confirm Raihan will kasi you bring kids in, but she's very gentle when it comes to that, because she's always up for people who always want to do better for their health.
I
Even
like
though-
people who show up.
Yeah, especially for ladies who are breastfeeding. I mean, we had one of the participants who was actually breastfeeding during a position of
Guys,
posture.
women are crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy awesome.
I was like, oh, I can't even do that with a kid,
Yeah,
and you're
yeah.
doing it with breastfeeding and all, right? So I mean, that's crazy, and honestly, they could only made it because of you, right? Like you
Alhamdulillah.
allowed it. You know, there are some instructors who are a bit strict with that.
Yeah,
And,
which I understand why. I really
yeah,
understand
yeah.
why. So that's what I mean by you have to find your community.
True.
Some people will like that, like, oh, no kids zone, which is not entirely wrong. Some
Because-
people want to
yeah.
tune out, and you should respect that.
Yes.
But you need to find your people. So that ties back to like the whole kampong thing. You have
Correct.
to find your people.
And surprisingly, I like it having a mix of people, because then it's kind of macam empowering after the class. It's not like you masuk class. I mean, sure, I do like going to the ones that looks aesthetically pleasing, not just the studio, you know, the vibe and all that. But at times when you go to classes yang, you know, the people are a bit like curvy, or the ones with kids and all, you kind of feel more empowered after that, because you're like, hey, if they're making it happen, I should too, right? Just because I skinny, tak semestinya I'm good. Like I just need to be around, yeah, I need to be around aesthetic people, or you know, reach a certain criteria or whatnot. So I guess going to the main intention of this session that we have is to sort of macam share as to what is it that you would like to share, what you have in mind, or you know, personally, if you could tell anyone who comes up to you today, hey Raihan, I only have like 1 minute with you, can you just tell me all I need to know, because I want to figure out if I can or should be a Pilates instructor. What would you know, say? It doesn't have to be like 1 minute lah, but you get the gist of it.
There's actually 1 minute.
Timer on, girl. But yeah, I mean, anyone who is super clueless, what would you say to them? Especially budak-budak baru habis SPM, or even those working in corporates who feel like, I can't do this for life, right?
Yeah.
So what would you say that, you know, comes from your heart to them, that, you know, go give it a try or something like that? Yeah.
I would say go for it. Like, act on it. Don't wait for the right time. If you feel that it's right now, do it. Like, act on it. And it doesn't have to be like, oh, terus pay for certification or something. Start with a class on YouTube. Like, let's say, because we're on the topic of Pilates, but this can be anything, you know, photography, writing, copywriting, you know, generally.
Yeah.
Those kind of like avenues that are not very traditional. Like, start already, and then you will see it come into fruition. I think like a really, really good friend of mine pushed me towards that, because I think during COVID, I was so close to like giving up on Pilates. But I went to her and I asked her like, do you think this is the right thing for me? And then she kind of said like, you just have to put it out to the world, regardless of whoever responds, as long as you showed up for yourself. Yeah. And you know that this is for you and you want to show up. I think like back to like tying it back to Allah provides, there will come a time that it makes sense, but you have to show up. If you don't show up, how can you see things coming to fruition? You know, it's like a domino effect, a butterfly effect. So you have to act on it.
Understood. So I guess to sum it up, it's basically just making it happen for you, not even for anyone else.
Exactly.
And just trusting the process, right?
Yep. In this day and age, everyone thinks that, oh, if I didn't have enough views, I didn't have enough response, that means I'm not successful. But that's the very sad thing about social media nowadays, not to like put it down or whatever. It is a great connection, like it's a great place to find community and stuff like that, but numbers are very, very dangerous. Comments are very dangerous to a certain degree. I know there's some uplifting ones, but also when you put yourself to a kind of like you put yourself down to data and also analytics, it's like, when did life become so accurate? You know, life is not accurate. Life is messy. It was never
life is not ChatGPT, right?
But I wish it was.
Everyone is like, oh, my best friend is ChatGPT. ChatGPT knows more about my life more than my husband, right?
Exactly. So you don't have to fork out the money. You just start showing up for yourself, and then you see if this is something that you like, and people will respond. But don't expect respond to be always immediate. Because I think in this age of instant gratification, we always want results fast. We want to be successful fast. We want to, like, literally, I would say, in the span of like 6-7 years that I've been in this career, I've only gotten to see the like fruits of my labor in the past 2-3 years maybe. And even then also sometimes I think like, okay, maybe it's not enough, but I think I always have to remind myself I'm living in my unsaid prayers. I'm different than the person who started out this career and this journey.
And would you say macam always pursue your passion, or for you macam you wouldn't know your passion until you try it, or how does it work?
You wouldn't know your passion until you try it. And I think like in this day and age, everyone's just like, oh, passion. But sometimes 9 to 5 works for people, and I'm all for it. I have really good friends that are happy in 9 to 5. They like structure. They
it's
like
just knowing what
what you want.
for you, right?
Betul.
What brings you happiness?
Exactly. For
Yeah.
me nowadays, I focus a lot more on contentment. If I can have that peace. So the idea of like having a job where I can make time for my mom and have a Pilates class with her, or like, you know, I can make time to read a book, I can make time to clean up my house. You know, I think that's a luxury.
Feed my cats.
Yeah, it is a luxury. I think like in this day and age, we're always asking for help. We're always working so hard and then hiring people or external services, you know, to help us
Yeah.
out. When actually, I think it's such a joy to clean up my. I know it's such a weird thing, but
It's such a joy to clean up.
because I
I want to go to your house now. I want to
Please
see how clean it is.
Oh my god, no.
Maybe we should record it in your house.
Can I have a sofa? But basically, it's like such a big blessing to be able to do these things. But nowadays, people think it's such a hassle to
Yeah.
be doing chores, to be driving your kids to school.
So most important
Yeah.
is being content, right? Because
Being
sometimes
content.
it's not possible to be happy every day. I
It's
think
not.
accepting that part of life for me has been
Yeah.
challenging as well.
Yeah.
Is that I always thought, oh, I have to be happy today. Every day I have to be
Exactly.
But
Happy is
sometimes-
one, and also like you think like macam, oh, if you have this amount of money in your bank account, but you're happy. If you have this work-life balance fully, then happy.
Yeah,
But it's not
yeah.
always gonna be consistent. You know?
Yeah, and you're going to be traveling soon. And I mean, one of the pros of being a Pilates instructor in your case is you can choose when you want to take leave based on the weather of the country. Also, I'm just joking, but
That's funny.
But yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
but I guess that's one of the many perks as well for those who are
Yeah.
curious. Pilates instructor ni ada perks ke kan? Yeah.
To a certain degree, we don't have medical insurance.
You are the medical insurance.
Yeah, we are
You
the
have to keep
medical.
yourself fit.
Exactly. We don't have medical insurance. We don't have many benefits, but that's what I mean. It's not all glory, fun and glory. You know,
Yeah.
people might think because you have an online presence, you
Yeah.
have this like certain persona. It's like, wow, I want to be her. But no, if you guys are happy in corporate, do corporate. Like, it's nice. Like, literally, I cannot count the amount of times I was so jealous of my friends because they know how much they earn at the end of the month.
Oh yeah, that's
I
so
would
true. That
not
is
know
very
how much
true.
I earn at the end of the month
That's
because
the same for business owners too,
yes,
right?
exactly.
Yeah,
It's basically
yeah.
being a business owner. Like
Yeah.
tying it back to the fact that you have to start yourself from the ground. You don't know what kind of direction you're gonna go.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
terms of like whether it's degree and then after that you get a job and then you get placement. No, you don't get a placement. You create your placement.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, thank you so much for sharing more than what we have planned in the first
Yeah.
place. I think if anyone has any questions anytime, they can always just reach out to you on Instagram.
Yes, and if you come for Kita Balance, you can have a chat.
So I would like to say thank you as well to Subang Collective for this space. They're actually an event space, and I come from the company called the Skinny Bakers, just to
They make really good cookies.
thank you. Just to sort of put it in, why they call it the Skinny Bakers is because personally for me, I've always been skinny, and I thought that I should just embrace it. Although how much I try to gain weight, it's just not working. I do get insecure about my arms, but I guess now that's not an issue because I wear long sleeves outside. But yeah, I mean, just for a gist of things, I hope you
Yes.
enjoyed today's session. I did.
Yeah, me too.
I
Thanks for
think-
making it so comfortable and
Yeah.
like inviting me. Like literally, it's so impromptu.
Okay, thank you. I think that's pretty much it, right? Am I supposed to say anything at the end?
No, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in.
Yeah.